go second. And then Micah kills us.
Yes.
Fucking strong.
Yes.
So macho.
Yes.
So macho. Yeah, it's so camp. Hello and welcome to The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer, Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker. We've just watched England. Absolutely never in doubt. Not at one point did I think England wouldn't win that game. Late drama, of course. And England, I think it's fair to say, scraped through against Slovakia in the round of 16. I don't think any of us really expected what we saw, to be perfectly honest. God, it was so stressful watching it, wasn't it? There was one point, Alan was so exasperated that he got up out of his chair and said, I need to walk. And he walked out into the back room there and we suddenly heard from wherever he was, I'm not exaggerating. He has a very loud voice, much louder than mine. It's true, isn't it?
It was just desperation. I mean, it was desperate. They were so bad. It was untrue. I mean, I was thinking Iceland 2016, was it?
Yeah. 2016
all over again,
but
with much better players.
Yes.
It was that bad, and England were offering nothing at all, and I just couldn't see where it was going to come from. And then
it's difficult.
Piece of brilliance.
It's difficult in a way to know how to pitch the response to it, isn't it? Because ultimately England are through to the quarterfinals. They've found a way through the sheer kind of determination and brilliance of Jude Bellingham at the end, after what was a tough afternoon for all the players. Just dragged them back into it, and then obviously Harry Kane does what Harry does. He's a quiet day, but he scored. And suddenly you're in the quarterfinals, but you can't gloss over the problems and the performance.
No, you can't, but you can be positive about their character that they're shown to get back in the game. You know, we always talk about football and big moments, and Jude Bellingham, after the criticism he's had in the last couple of games, he stepped up in a vital moment.
Yep.
So we have to talk about that side, and then Kane as well. We talked about him, and the talk of the last week or so has been he needs to do more. And yes, we still believe he needs to do more, but he still gets the goal. So in one sense,
and
that is a difference. That is a difference. We talk about moments and big this is what top players do. So I would like to give him credit for that. In terms of the overall play, it just needs a lot of work. It does. You know, tactically, we're just miles off where we need to be. I'm looking at the style of play thinking, what are we trying to do?
Exactly.
That is a question. When you're footballers and you set out and you have the managers and you go to your manager, this is how he wants you to play. I don't know what the message is coming from Southgate. And that is worrying. Next up, we go against Switzerland. And we know how organised they are. So it's mixed emotions in the players need credit for the way they kept it going to the fight. Exactly. That's the word I was looking for. But it was still disappointing, if we're being totally honest.
I mean, I can't remember a performance, aside from the very, very end, where England have been so lacking. I mean, they had 2 shots on target in the game. I know one was a header. But that was it in the entirety of, 120 minutes or so. Well, more, because obviously England scored in the 95th minute and then scored in the 91st minute, which is unusual because of the nature of the fact that it was injury time and stuff. But there was they weren't cohesive. They were disjointed. They were unbalanced yet again, as we've seen many times in this tournament. They played deep. They were apart. They had the distances from the back 4 to the front were way too big. They weren't condensed in their play. It was as though they'd just met each other for the first time and gone on a field and tried to play football.
Yeah, positives. They're through the result. And, in knockout football, in reality, that's all that matters. But, and it's a big but, you only have to win 4 games. basically, once you're through to knockout football. Last 16, quarter-final, semi-final and final.
Your maths are good.
So, does it matter how you play? Well, it's results-based, yes, but there is so much more to be had from this England team. I mean, would it be wrong of me to say they've been rotten for 4 games? Other than 30 minutes.
I don't think many fans at home, the people at home that watched
mean,
that, and there would have been millions and millions of people
not
with exactly that opinion. How could you think that was a good display?
And we're not exactly playing against great opposition. I mean, Slovakia today, for goodness sake. And our first shot on target was in the 95th minute. That's how bad it was. So...
and even then, when they got ahead, sat back again. And
There are so many things to improve on. I mean, again, we go long so many times, knocking a ball back to Pickford from kickoffs, and he's launching it long.
What was that?
When Kane gets his second goal, we sit straight back and invite pressure on again. But you have to come back to the point we're through to the next round. So I suppose that is a really good sign when you haven't played well at all, and England haven't. They haven't played well. They're through to the next round. That has to be a positive.
There are so many things. Where should we? Let's start at the back, shall we? Now, the defence were very deep for a lot of the game. We've got a player, that John Stones, that loves to go into the midfield. We've seen it time in, time out with Manchester City. And he's become almost a kind of extra midfield player for them on many occasions. But he was deep. And then you've got the 2 midfield players, Rice and Mainu, that were often as deep as the back 4. Yeah. And then you've got a huge gap between them and perhaps Bellingham and certainly Kane. And they were so spread out that it was impossible to play sharp, short passing football because they were too far apart. And a lot of it was, and you just kept thinking, get up the pitch. And the players have got to do it from the back, but it must be tactical. It must be instructions because they're actually playing differently to what they always do. And that's why, for me, it's baffling. And you don't want to be too negative because of the result. But if the game had been 30 seconds shorter or a minute shorter, this would have been seen as one of the most miserable, humiliating performances in English football history.
I think we have to give a little bit of credit to Slovakia, though, in terms tactically, the way they pressed. They went 4-3-3, and there was narrow. So all the best players for England wanted to go in the middle of the pitch. The one time that England got wide with Trippier, and this is what I was talking about.
He did play a bit higher at times.
Yeah, but fullbacks, obviously he's right-footed, playing on the left. But the one time he got really high, they got the disallowed goal with Foden. And that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about if he's going to play left-back, he has to be whipping in crosses with his left foot. It's just going high that allows the space for runners into the box. But I totally agree with you. In terms of tactically, it was crying out for wingers in this game today. Gordon would have been perfect. It was a perfect game for him today. I don't know if he's had his little injury. We've seen the pictures of him. Did he fall off a bike or whatever it was? So maybe he's not right. And they bring on Eze. I'm just thinking as well, the substitutions. They're too late. You need to make impact in the game earlier.
Gareth Southgate did come out and say about the substitutions that the reason I left it on, everyone wants this player and wants that player on. But I mean, in the end, he's saying, well, if I'd have taken them off, Bellingham wouldn't have scored. But I don't think most people would have thought Bellingham. I think it was more and I don't think it's actually about the individuals, and they're all playing below par, but I think they're playing below par because of the approach that England are playing. They're playing a kind of football that I don't think any of them probably play at club level. So that's how I feel. I might be wrong.
Do you think they can continue to play like this and go and win the tournament?
No,
I don't.
I said that before. I said it is about winning. Of course, it's about winning, but you can't keep getting away with it. And the minute England, if they keep playing that way, and I also say that they can turn it round, it just needs a slightly fresh approach, a bit more energy, but basically just get the team higher.
But maybe that's the approach that they need. We talk about, and we've all been players, and we've been in dressing room, and I've mentioned this a lot over the last couple of days, just something to turn. And in football, you get a late winner, and then you get a goal with Kane, you win the game, which really they know they shouldn't have won. Slovakia probably was a better organised side throughout until the Bellingham goal. But that could give him the confidence needed to go forward.
We all know in football things can turn very quickly, and you suddenly find a bit of form. And we've all played in patches of form in teams where it's not been going very well, and then suddenly you play well and you get on a good winning run. But I just think there needs to be a different tactical approach for that to realistically be likely.
But maybe we're just a moment's team where we camp deep. We look at the previous times that England have been successful when they've got to finals and semi-finals. They've been a defensive style and just relying on talent like Bellingham and Kane and Saka and Foden to come up with a moment of genius. Maybe that's just what we are. Maybe we need to accept that. We're not going to like that, of course not, because we want to play better football. But
is that what we are, though? Or is that just
I think that's what the manager is. That's what the manager is. It all stems from the manager. And if he wins the tournament playing like this, I did some stats on BBC the other day about all the great things they've done defensively. That's what he knows. So for us, it's so frustrating. But if he goes and wins a tournament playing like that, we'll say, okay. The question was, do you believe England can win like this? At this moment, what they're showing. No,
they can't win.
They're not playing like this.
I would say going into the game against Switzerland, they're distinct second favourites. They need a massive turnaround in form.
I mean, what a turnaround though! Going into a game against Switzerland as massive underdogs. I mean,
we're favourites. We were favourites before the tournament started.
Us and France were like the favourites for the tournament, and then all of a sudden we're saying we're underdogs against Switzerland. Really? I mean. The performances would suggest that, yeah. But goodness me, it has to improve, doesn't it? I mean, it's a hard
to be lucky than
watch.
Good.
Yeah. That was a hard 95 minutes watch. I feel as if I'm absolutely drained. It's like feel like it's like it was hard watch, wasn't it?
Imagine being a fan every week. Yeah. Imagine though.
Well, we're all fans, though, aren't we, of England?
But when it's England, it's bigger, it's grander.
Oh.
And it plays with the emotions too much.
We've got the quarter-final as well of the BBC.
That's great, though. That's great.
On Saturday, we get first pick of the quarter-finals. I suspect the BBC might play England. Although I haven't seen them play, maybe not. I think they will. Any players did themselves justice?
I thought Mainu was okay.
I thought Mainu did well. I thought you can see he's comfortable in that environment.
He wants to receive the ball in areas. He has no fear. He can drive the ball forward. Same as what we saw for Man United this season. I feel a little bit sorry for Declan Rice. He's played a couple of games with Trent, Alexander-Arnold in midfield. So you're looking for relationships on the field.
3 different players.
Gallagher, Mainu and Trent. So it's hard for him. And everyone's just saying, okay, we'll have Rice and then we'll have... But he needs that continuity to know what they want to do and how he wants to play. So although I don't think he had his best game, Rice, it's going to be difficult for him because... he's constantly having a different partner in there.
His stats were actually quite... You were reading them out, weren't you, Alan?
Declan's were decent, yeah. It's like, stats can tell you whatever you really want, positive or negative. But I just think there's massive improvement to be made all over the park for England. I mean, we ended up with Saka going to left back at one stage, and then Eze was back there. It was like, goodness me, it was desperation stuff at times. So
I saw Southgate say when he brought Ivan Toney on that he was disgusted at me putting him on at that moment. He said,
"What was it like? When
we
90
were all
seconds?
going 94th minute, but actually, he
did all right.
He played his part in the end because he obviously went into extra time.
Got the assist for Kane's goal, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did do well when he came on, though, didn't he? He got some important fouls.
I like him. He's got a presence.
He can hold it up. He's confident.
What about Harry Kane? He looks a little. He's not. His movement's not much at the moment. I didn't really see him sprint very often, but he's been left isolated a lot of the time. I thought he stayed high most of the game. He dropped deep because the team's so deep, so he has to drop deep to try and get the ball. So I feel for him a bit, but You know, he got his goal again.
I don't think
he's
it was
like a magnet.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
He'll always
chance.
score. He'll always score goals.
But I don't think it was a Harry
Great
Kane
goals.
problem today.
No,
I
think
thought it was a team problem.
It's a tactical issue.
Yeah,
isn't it?
tactical, getting up the field, which we've talked about many times before. But I thought he did all right. I thought he worked hard. Like you said, he doesn't press like we want him to press.
There's
But
no lack of effort.
no, but
I mean,
I thought his effort
ran
was there.
themselves into the ground. But what can he do? How does he change things? I mean, again, we have to keep saying they're through to the quarterfinals. They're playing Switzerland, but Switzerland, I think it's the first real test.
Yeah.
Switzerland have been exceptionally impressive in this tournament so far. They look tactically really spot on. They play high. They press. Are England going to play a counter-attack game?
Probably. Well, would love to see the changes in the
But can you play a counter-attack game without getting people high behind and break quickly with pace?
I mean, if
gonna
we
be
want to do that, we need Gordon at least.
It's going to be fascinating how they cope with the three up top for Switzerland: Bowler, and Doy, and Vargas.
And also,
They're three big players for
and
them.
also they play three at the back. Now, I think, wasn't it Harry Kane
Harry
that
said
said
it,
we'd struggled to play against
Yep.
teams with three at the back? We don't really know what we're doing. We're a bit confused. So it's, I mean, at least they're in the quarterfinal. But it's hard to be that hopeful. I mean, you know, if you'd have said before the start of the tournament, England be in the quarterfinal against Switzerland, you'd have gone, well, fancy your chances there. We'd be big favourites. But I don't think they are big favourites. Far from it.
Well, not from what we've seen. I mean, we can only tell you how it is, and when I don't think we're saying anything different to what anyone back at home is saying. They're watching the matches as well as we are, and it's not a good watch.
You can't pretend.
It's not a good watch.
You can't pretend that the
They're
team are
miles
playing
off
well.
it. They're miles off it.
Yeah.
Miles off it. They're nowhere near what we'd hoped and expected from England. So, but
We can hurt Switzerland down the side though.
yeah, but we can hurt them absolutely because that we're all waiting for us to improve, to get better, and the hope and the spark, and
Look at
we've
the
been saying
quality of
about
the
it just
players.
takes one little thing to get us going. Now,
Just look at the quality of the players that England actually have at their disposal. But you've got to get something out of them. And I look at them at the moment, I see a team they're like lost souls. I don't think they really know what they're supposed to be doing, what their jobs are, how the team is supposed to be playing. Now, I'm sure they have been told, but it's whether they're bought into it. They're playing in a kind of format and a style that is alien to most of them, because most of them play a high press, dynamic, really sharp, electric, short passing football. Not seen any of that. So I actually feel for the players a little bit. They look like they're trying their nuts off. You can see that. They're running, they're chasing and harrying and doing all the things. There's absolutely, definitely no lack of effort in there or commitment about that. But they look a little bit lost, but maybe that little moment of like Bellingham magic, and what an absolute superstar this kid. He's done that so many times for Real Madrid, hasn't he, this season? That's what superstars do. There's almost an arrogance about him as well, which I like, which is very un-British, isn't it? Very un-English, because you're supposed to be modest and stuff. And I saw him in his interview, and what he said.
But the script.
Who keeps writing
Who
your
writes
scripts?
your scripts? I do. And I thought, who would say that? He's just turned 21. What was it? Yesterday, the day before the game. I mean,
I love him.
I love that. I admire it. People start going, "Oh, he's getting a bit big for his boots." No, his boots are big, and he fills them.
You know what I like about him? He had a couple of off performances, but it didn't affect him, and that's how you know he's a top player. Even if he doesn't play well in the game, he can still make the difference.
The only thing I would say, in a slight kind of excuse, is that I think the pitches that perhaps England have played on in particular, they look awful. They're cutting up and bobbly and bumpy. When I saw, we've just been watching Spain as well, who were brilliant, and their pitches, it seemed to be moving the ball quick, or maybe they're just passing it quicker. But people are falling over, stumbling on the.
Maybe that's why we haven't played
Maybe
well.
that's it. Give a player an excuse and he'll take it. We know that from our own experience.
Slovakia kept the ball though, didn't they?
Yeah.
So it's not really an
yeah,
excuse.
exactly.
Now we've all played in games where you've kind of been not very good and got away with it and win, and you just think it's better than playing well and losing. So you get another go. They've got another go.
Yep.
And let's hope they find something, a little bit of a spark, a little bit of magic.
Need to.
Well, you said the changes. What changes would you? What would you make?
I would keep Palmer in. I would bring Gordon in. Obviously, I would keep Manu in because I think he's done enough to.
Who plays instead of Gay?
To stay in.
He's got 2 yellow cards, and he's been good.
Was Duncan Conser to pick? Who would you go with?
Probably Conser. I think is the
Conser.
one he's involved a little bit more as well, hasn't it? So
Same.
He would bring him in. I think. Yeah. Maybe you don't know Luke Shaw. I don't know.
What about Cole Palmer?
Yeah, I'll definitely keep him in. Yeah.
Keep him in.
Cole Palmer's got something about him, hasn't he? He's confident.
Swagger.
He's got a swagger. I mean, again, I don't think it's necessarily about individuals, but you've got to find the right balance. They've got to address the situation on the left. I mean,
who's going to play left back though? Because Trippier went off injured.
That's another problem because Luke Shaw won't be able to play because he didn't even come on again for a few minutes. So he can't start because he's not played for months. So it comes back again, that decision about not bringing another backup left back. I mean, we saw Saka played there for a bit, which is possible if he wants to put Palmer on the right. Could play Saka, which would be a bit odd.
Saka himself said before this game that I said, no, I wouldn't. It's not right me playing the left back position. Yet he was shifted there tonight, wasn't he?
He did all right as well, didn't he? At left back.
He did all right, yeah.
I thought Ezra was there for a little while as well. It's kind of a left wing back, but covering back a little bit. So there are issues, but style change. Can he do it? Do you change, perhaps match Switzerland up because they play 3 at the back? Maybe, I don't know. That's
on the ball, I think we can go to a 3. It depends. It depends what's happened with Trippier. I said before the game, I would like to see Trent play right back, Walker left back.
Yeah, you could do that.
I
thought that was the one glaring thing. I thought in that you're 1-0 down. I know they won in the end, and his lack of changes worked bizarrely. But I thought when you've got 20 minutes to go, half an hour to go, and you're 1-0 down, playing against a team that are now just trying to defend, to not bring on Trent for Kyle Walker, who's a brilliant defender and all that, but you didn't need that at that point. You just needed the quality, the delivery, the passing, the crossing of Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, it was crying out for it. I mean, we'll never know whether it made a difference, but in the end, Kyle Walker takes a long throw, gets a flick on. So well played, Gareth. Brilliant decision. What do I know? Not a lot. So, but yeah, what would you do?
Yeah, it's a hard one because I'm just thinking the way that Switzerland play, and with the 3 at the back, Kanji's pivotal in everything they do. I know your man Shah there at the back as well. I watched him the other day. Very good. Worries me a little bit in midfield with Xhaka and Freuler because they basically just run the game. But if I'm looking at the areas where we can hurt Switzerland, it's definitely down the right-hand side and left-hand side. Cole Palmer, I probably agree with Alan on that because he can draw defences in, he can attack and go both ways. But I think we're crying out for pace on that left-hand side with Gordon.
I think we all thought that last game. We all thought that the game before. We all thought that game before that. But for some reason, he's not really had a look in.
I just think Foden will be too isolated against Switzerland on the left-hand side.
It doesn't work for him, does it?
It's not working.
Not there. I think he's a great player, and you could play him as a 10. You could still probably play Bellingham alongside Rice. I still think Bellingham up and down is.
He went too early for the disallowed goal as well, didn't he? Should never have been offside, should he?
No, he should have stayed behind the ball. Yeah. So,
that's what I would do.
Yeah.
So even just for like the strikers, and I know we've criticised Kane in previous games, and you're talking about the runs. You did a really good piece on the BBC about where he should be running, but he's got no one putting the ball in the box. And I'm not talking about crosses. I'm talking about cutbacks. No one's getting to the byline and cutting the ball back for him to make the runs.
Because we're not compact enough as a team. We're not playing high enough as a team to get into those positions. They're so spread out and so deep. And the 2 midfield players are on the toes of the 2 central defenders. Alan was like exasperated by that. Right?
Well, it was, so many times that Rice and Manu were both of them standing there getting the ball off the centre halves. I'm thinking, centre halves can do that.
Get up.
Yeah. Get further up the pitch and give us more options up there, No need for them to keep coming and get the ball. And they were only 5 and 10 yards apart at times. So, yeah, I was getting really frustrated at doing that because I didn't
I
think
think
there
they
was a need
just.
for it.
I agree with that. I think sometimes I don't like the word playing within yourself, but you drop a little bit deeper just to get on the ball, get your confidence, but you need to be getting the ball higher up in areas where you can
The amount of
hurt
times
the
he had,
teams.
they go up, they come back, he ends up back at Pickford, and then Pickford will launch it.
I know.
It was kind of a bit archaic in many ways, but anyway, England are through.
They're through.
They're through, and thankfully they're not playing Spain because my goodness me,
Yeah.
they were impressive.
They
What a
were
good
very
game
good.
that was.
Again. They've been the best team of the tournament, no doubt about it. No panic even when they go 1-0 down, which was a surprise. They just keep on playing their game, pass.
Sharp,
really quick passing.
And every player,
Width.
player is in the last third. It makes football so much easier. Even if you lose it, you win it back, and you're still only 20, 30 yards from goal.
One of the great things I like about them is how they go high up. Their two wingers, Lamal and Williams, two exceptional talents, and they're going to cause anyone problems, Spain, because they're a really, really good team.
Yeah, but it helps when you've got Rodri absolutely dictating play, doesn't it?
It does. He's an
Ruiz
unbelievable player.
was fantastic.
Wonderful
as well.
footballer, isn't
He's so good.
He makes it look so easy. He's always like within kind of. He looks like he's just ambling around, but he's passing and his sharpness and
his touch for the goal.
Oh yeah,
He's just got everything, hasn't he?
He really
He's improved so much since when he first came to Man
Got to
City.
talk about Lamine Yamal. I mean, he'll turn 17 the day before the final. He's born in a place called Esplugues de Llobregat in Barcelona. Good Catalan name. That his father's from Morocco, mother's from Equatorial Guinea. 11 appearances already before his 17th birthday. Oh my God, how good was he?
Superstar.
Yeah.
He's going to be the next absolute superstar.
This is a
isn't
big
he?
thing.
I mean, as long as everything goes well for him.
As long as he keeps his feet on the ground,
Yeah.
which he will.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will. But it's just the way he drift past. And it's not just normally you got wingers who just beat their man and try cross it. But it's his brain. When he comes inside, he plays the 1-2s, the way to pass, knowing when to drop off and get the ball, knowing when to run in behind, going both ways. He's
still a child.
He's 16.
He's still a
Madness.
child.
Absolute
He's there
bonkers.
doing his homework.
Yeah, it's madness.
I don't think he'll need
What
to
a
worry
talent.
too much about school.
But you said a good point about him, like the manager just playing him. He's 16.
I mean, that's it. A brave management. I don't know whether that would happen here. That kind of, if you had that kind of talent and the bravery to, yes, he's only a kid, but he's the best. Put him in there.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
What a player.
Wow. When he goes at pace,
It's a huge part of what they do as well and how they play. And to be a huge part at 16 is like madness.
They'll take some beating, Spain, and they're going to play Germany. What a game that is.
I don't know who wins that. I think Spain, the only thing I would say about Spain, they play so high. Georgia today had a lot of opportunities
Counter.
on the counter attack.
I thought Georgia actually had a real go, and I thought they would played some great stuff. Glad they got in the lead. I think they'll go home to Georgia and they'll be treated like heroes because they put up a real display. They didn't just sit back and defend. They hit them on the break, no countering, and I thought they were great.
How good's Kvaratskhelia though?
Oh, he's
Very good. Yeah.
that goal when he tried from inside his own half.
Yeah.
That awareness. Oh, if that had bent in, it was so close. That would have been probably might have ended up being the best goal in European Championship history. Although Van Basten's volley was quite good, but it would fabulous moment. I think that
Well, they had their unbelievable moment, didn't they, against Portugal, beating Portugal, and they put up a good fight today, going a goal up and hitting them on the counter attack a few times, as you just said. So they can be like really, really super proud of themselves.
Spain favourites.
I don't know if the favourites. I think they play the best style of football
Best
that we
to watch.
that we want to see.
Oh yeah.
I just don't know how that's going to work with a team who can exploit their weaknesses on the transition.
Can't see anyone beating them but England. You never know. Football's a strange game. That's one of the joys of football, isn't it? You can be playing really badly, and then things can suddenly go, and you can win against all odds. Whereas in other sports, the teams that play the best and that often win, nearly always win. It's not always the
I'm,
case.
I'm
in
telling you, we can beat Switzerland. We can beat them. We can. I'm optimistic.
Micah,
I've had a bet with Harry,
yeah, I know you. have, yeah.
one of the producers. If you don't know him, we call him H. A nice bottle of red.
Yeah.
If
What was the bet that you'd wear that shirt?
Explain that shirt to us, Mike.
Okay,
is
so,
that satin or silk? Or,
it's another one of the same material
is
that I
that a
had.
dress? Is it like a silk dressing gown, or is it?
It's the weather's. It's hot out here. You don't want to sweat.
I don't think Alan and myself could carry that.
What's the make? Hugo Dross.
Gucci, actually. Let's get it
I
right.
thought it was Versace.
Oh, it does look a bit
It
Versace,
does
doesn't
look
it?
Versace.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it's marvellous, actually.
It's nice and airy. It's nice and airy. It's nice and airy.
Airy. It's breathable, is what they call it.
It suits you, Micah. It really does suit you. I'll tell you what, let's call it a day. And England are in the next round.
Come on, we can't.
Do you know what you just
Let's
said,
finish
by
on
the
a
way?
positive, shall we?
Do you know what you just said? You went, come on, I think England can beat Switzerland. I mean, I mean, really. I mean, it's come to that. But anyway, let's be positive. We're still in it, still fighting, still going, and you never know. You never.
It's happening. Remember, I told you first.
Yeah.
The rest is football. Big meeks. England are gonna beat the Swiss.
And it's on
Don't
the
clip that up,
BBC.
just in
And it's on the BBC.
Yes. Live on the BBC.
Yes.
5 o'clock kickoff on Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Join us.
Also, you'll be doing co-coms, won't you, Alan?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'll be at the
So
back
where
of
is
the
it?
game,
Where is
yeah.
it?
It's in Dusseldorf.
Oh, that's supposed to be lovely. I haven't been to Dusseldorf. I think we played there in '88. If we did, we lost because we lost all 3 games. That's a good omen. Anyway, let's call it a day. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.